The accident didn't just take Lily's parents, it erased her childhood in one brutal moment. At 12 years old, Lily stood in a hospital hallway that smelled like antiseptic and silence, listening to words she barely understood. "We're sorry, we did everything we could." Her parents had chosen love over comfort. They had married despite their family's anger, and for that choice, they had already paid a heavy price while alive. Now, in death, there was no forgiveness. No relatives rushed forward to claim her, no family meetings, no shared grief. Just one woman stepping out of the shadows, her grandmother. And with that step, Lily's life changed forever. After the funeral, Lily didn't remember crying much. What she remembered was the quiet, the kind of quiet that presses against your ears until your own thoughts feel too loud. The house her grandmother brought her to was large, clean, and orderly, but it didn't feel welcoming. It felt like a place where emotions were carefully locked away. Her grandmother did everything right, technically. Lily was enrolled in a good school. Her clothes were always clean. Her meals were on time. There was no neglect anyone could point at. And yet, Lily felt invisible. Affection was rare, praise almost non-existent. Every mistake, spilled milk, a low grade, a forgotten chore, was corrected sharply. Not cruelly, but coldly, as if Lily needed constant reminding that she was being allowed to stay. At night, Lily would lie awake replaying her grandmother's expressions. She convinced herself that the anger wasn't really meant for her, it was meant for her mother, for the woman who had dared to marry for love and break family pride. And Lily was the living proof of that mistake. She grew up disciplined, obedient, and emotionally guarded. She learned early that love in her world always came with conditions. As the years passed, Lily stopped expecting warmth. She became quiet, self-reliant, and careful with her words. She learned to read her grandmother's moods, when to speak, when to stay silent, when to disappear into her room. Her grandmother rarely spoke about the past. Lily's parents were never mentioned unless necessary. Photos stayed tucked away. Stories were avoided. That absence shaped Lily more than any punishment ever could. She began to believe that love was dangerous, that choosing your own happiness could ruin lives, that attachment always ended in loss. So she focused on survival. Good grades, good behavior, no complaints. And still, no matter how perfect she tried to be, she never felt enough. Somewhere deep inside, resentment quietly took root. Not loud, not angry, but aching. Lily wanted to be loved without having to earn it. By the time she left for college, she wasn't just leaving a house, she was escaping a lifetime of emotional restraint. College felt unreal at first. No one corrected the way Lily spoke. No one watched what time she came back. No one measured her worth through silence. For the first time in her life, she was just Lily, not someone's responsibility, not someone's reminder of a broken past. She slowly started opening up. That's when she met him. He noticed her in small ways. The books she carried, the way she listened more than she spoke, the hesitation behind her smile. He asked questions no one had ever asked her before, about her dreams, about what she wanted, not what was expected. To Lily, that felt like freedom. He told her she deserved a life she chose herself, that love should never feel like obligation, that traditions were cages meant to be broken. Every word felt like healing. She didn't fall in love all at once. She leaned into it, carefully, gratefully, because being understood felt intoxicating after a childhood of emotional starvation. She didn't see the warning signs. Not yet. All she saw was someone who made her feel visible. When Lily told her grandmother about him, the air changed. There was no shouting, no drama, just a sharp stillness that made Lily uneasy. Her grandmother listened without interrupting, her face unreadable. "I want to meet him," she said, finally. Lily agreed, convinced this would end well. But the meeting was tense from the moment it began. Her grandmother asked questions that felt more like evaluations than curiosity, about his background, his plans, his expectations. The boy answered confidently, too confidently. When he spoke about the future, he spoke in numbers, stability, and what Lily deserved. He spoke less about partnership and more about outcomes. The decision came fast. "No," her grandmother said. Just one word. Lily felt something snap inside her. Then her grandmother delivered the final blow. "Your marriage has already been decided." Her cousin, older, distant, always traveling. In that moment, Lily didn't just feel controlled, she felt betrayed. She's known Louis existed, but knowing someone's name is not the same as knowing their presence. Louis was older than her by several years. He was rarely home, always moving between countries, managing work Lily didn't understand and never asked about. When he visited, he was respectful, quiet, almost distant. He spoke politely, ate quickly, and left early. What Lily noticed most was this. When Louis spoke, her grandmother listened. That alone made her suspicious. In Lily's mind, Louis became the silent controller, the man behind decisions, the one who convinced her grandmother that Lily couldn't be trusted with her own life. When she confronted him, her words were sharp and reckless. "You knew about this marriage all along, didn't you? You planned this. You think because I'm alone, you can decide my future." Louis didn't defend himself. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't argue. He just listened, and that hurt more than anger would have. To Lily, his silence felt like guilt, like confirmation that he was exactly what she feared, someone hiding ambition behind calm manners. She didn't see the pain in his eyes. She wasn't looking for it. When Lily told her boyfriend the truth, his reaction wasn't heartbreak, it was rage. Not grief over losing her, but frustration over losing control. He blamed her grandmother immediately, called her outdated, manipulative, obsessed with tradition. Then his anger shifted toward Louis. "He wants your money," he said without hesitation. "This is why they're forcing you. They think you're weak." Those words fueled Louis's resentment. She needed someone to blame, and Louis fit perfectly. But slowly, cracks began to appear. Her boyfriend started pressuring her more, asking uncomfortable questions about property, inheritance, and timelines. He spoke about marriage like a deal that had been delayed, not a bond that had been lost. When Lily hesitated, he accused her of not trying hard enough. And for the first time, Lily felt something unsettling. What if her grandmother had seen something she hadn't? Still, pride kept Lily quiet, because admitting doubt would mean admitting she might be wrong. Some family histories aren't forgotten. They're buried. Lily learned the truth slowly, not in one dramatic confession, but through fragments, whispered conversations, old documents, and moments her grandmother thought she wasn't listening. Her father's name, William, carried weight she had never understood before. William hadn't just come from a respectable family. He had come from power, wealth, influence. His marriage had been arranged long before he was old enough to refuse it, a strategic alliance designed to strengthen two powerful families. But William had fallen in love, and for that love, he had paid everything. When he walked away from the arranged marriage, his family disowned him completely. He lost his inheritance overnight. Doors closed, names were erased. He was treated as if he had never existed. The punishment didn't stop with him. William's sister, already married into that same influential family, was divorced in humiliation. She returned home stripped of status, dignity, and safety, carrying a small boy in her arms. That boy was Louis. Louis's mother never recovered from what happened. She raised her son quietly, carefully, trying to rebuild a life from shame and loss. She worked when her health allowed, saved what little she could, and taught Louis discipline before comfort. Then cancer arrived. It came slowly, giving false hope before stealing her strength piece by piece. Through it all, she never complained, only worried about Louis. Before she died, she made a decision that would change everything. She transferred everything she owned, businesses, assets, investments, into her son's name, not as a gift, as protection. Overnight, Louis became incredibly wealthy, but the wealth came wrapped in grief, responsibility, and silence. And through all of this, one thing remained constant. She loved Lily like her own daughter. That love was the reason Lily's grandmother trusted Louis more than anyone else, because she knew he had already lost too much to ever use love as a weapon. By the time Lily started seeing the truth, it was already complicated. Her grandmother wasn't an easy woman to love, but she had never been careless. She had watched one generation destroy itself for love without protection. She had seen William lose everything. She had buried her daughter-in-law without reconciliation. She had raised 2 orphaned children under one roof, knowing the world would take advantage of softness. Fear had shaped her more than cruelty ever could. When she looked at Lily's boyfriend, she didn't see romance. She saw impatience. She saw entitlement masked as affection. She heard future plans filled with expectations, not responsibility. He spoke as if Lily's life would improve because of him, not with him, and that terrified her. Louis never argued with her grandmother, not because he controlled her, but because he understood her fear. He had lived its consequences. Still, Lily saw none of this. All she saw was a life being decided without her consent. Every conversation with Louis felt heavy. Every silence felt intentional. She accused him of hiding behind tradition, of letting her grandmother take the blame while he benefited. Louis absorbed every word, until one day, he couldn't anymore. Louis made a decision no one expected. He refused the marriage. Quietly, firmly, without drama, he told Lily's grandmother that Lily deserved a choice, even if that choice wasn't him. That love, forced, would turn into resentment, and resentment would destroy everything they were trying to protect. For the first time, Lily's grandmother said nothing, because deep down, she knew Louis was right. But life doesn't wait for clarity. Her health declined rapidly. Days blurred into nights, strength faded, regret grew heavier. On her deathbed, she called them both. Her voice was weak, but her grip was firm. "I don't have time left," she said. "I only have one wish." She asked them to marry, not out of control, but out of fear of leaving Lily unprotected in a world she no longer trusted. Louis looked at Lily, and for the first time, he didn't walk away. The wedding was simple, quiet, almost painful in its stillness. No celebration, no smiles, just 2 people bound together by a wish that came too late to explain itself. After the funeral, the house felt different. Not emptier, heavier. The woman who had controlled everything was gone, and suddenly Lily had too much space to think, too much quiet, too many unanswered questions. That's when the truth reached her fully. About her father's past, about Louis's mother, about the wealth Louis never needed, about the marriage he had refused for her sake. Every memory replayed differently now. Every accusation she had thrown at Louis echoed back with shame attached to it. She realized something painful. Louis had never tried to take anything from her. He had only tried to step aside. The guilt was suffocating. But Louis didn't demand apologies. He was respectful, kind, distant. He spoke when necessary, listened when required, never complained. And that distance hurt Lily more than anger ever could, because it reminded her that trust, once broken, doesn't return on command. Lily stopped trying to fix everything at once. Instead, she showed up. She took care of small things, listened without interrupting, learned Louis' silences instead of filling them. She apologized once, sincerely, and never tried to justify herself again. Time did the rest. Conversations grew longer, tension softened, laughter returned quietly, without announcement. One day, Louis spoke honestly about his mother, his fear of becoming controlling, his decision to walk away. That was the moment Lily truly fell in love, not because of fate, not because of marriage, but because he had respected her choice, even when it cost him everything. Their love didn't explode into passion, it settled into peace, into understanding, into a partnership built on truth, not fear. And in the end, Lily realized something she wished she had known earlier. The safest love is not the loudest one. It's the one that stays, even when it has every reason to leave. Lily often wondered how close she had come to losing him, not through death, but through misunderstanding. She would lie awake at night beside a man she once accused of greed and feel her throat tighten with regret. Louis never reminded her of her mistakes. He never used her past against her. That was the cruelest kindness of all. Some nights, Lily would watch him sleep and think about the version of herself who had judged without listening, who had loved noise instead of sincerity, who had mistaken freedom for safety. And she would whisper a thank you he could never fully hear, because if Louis had been a little less patient, a little less honorable, a little less in love, she would have lost the greatest love of her life without ever realizing what it was. And sometimes that thought hurt more than the past itself. So tell me, how many times have we pushed away the person who loved us most just because they loved us quietly? If you felt this story, please like and subscribe, and comment below. Do you believe quiet love is the strongest kind of love?